Hello, optimists, and welcome to another episode of Your BS. That's Your Best Self. I'm your host, Marcos Mendoza. We have a crazy show lined up for you today. I'm very excited. We have a very special guest in the house. Yes, I'm talking about Niko, the creator of FitHop, a functionally integrative training health optimizing program. It's unbelievable, guys. We're going to be doing a quick 10 to 15-minute interview with Niko. He's going to tell us all about how this program was created. He's also going to tell us all about his journey creating ADD and contributing to the whole ADD movement that is happening this Sunday and the beginning of something very special. So you guys are going to want to stay tuned because we got lots to talk about. He's going to tell us all about his philosophies. He's going to tell us all about his fitness training and all. It's something that you don't want to miss. So stay tuned to Your BS because we'll be right back. You guys can check out his bio pack. Let's see what we got. Welcome back, guys. There you saw Niko's bio pack. It looks like he's been up to a lot of crazy stuff. As you can see, he's mastered pretty much all the elements of martial arts and fitness and music. He combined them all together, and he created this unbelievable program. So without further ado, I'm very happy to announce our guest, Niko Sofianos of FitHop. How you doing?
What's happening? Thank you for that. Wow, man. I'm humbly moved by that introduction.
Yeah, man, like you deserve it, dude. Like I've been watching you for a long time now, and it's unbelievable the way that you've actually managed to, like I said in the intro there, fuse fitness with music and martial arts. You know, and like I was actually thinking about it before I did this interview, and I realized this guy created his own martial art. You know what I mean?
In a sense,
yeah. In a sense, yeah. Like martial meaning fight, war, right?
That's the thing. That's the thing.
The word doesn't correlate with what you're doing, but FitHop as its essence, FitHop as what it is, the origin of it, doesn't come from fighting or violence, but it does come from a philosophy. Yes. So in a sense, it is its own martial art, you know, because martial art has a philosophy behind it, right?
Right. It's an art form. It truly is. And I mean, one of the things, like when you mentioned the martial arts, I have a lot of friends. They're like real professional martial artists, you know, stunt guys and black belts and everything. And I'm very, you know, skeptical about even using the term martial arts, but I went into the study further because a lot of people have identified FitHop as looking like, you know, martial art, and I realized the word martial, it means war and or law, implying law or war, and art is just an art form. So it's the art of the war and the battle, which through this philosophy is about the battle with self,
right? Nobody
else. So yeah, it's an art, but like the Spartan said too, you don't give a Spartan a sword until he learns to dance. So it's the art of first learning the grace of movement and dancing, and yeah, within that is almost like you know, the ability to use your body, the instrument, as a lethal weapon too.
That's amazing, man. Like I guess you just broke it down, like real simple terms right there. I actually wanted to ask you so that people know, what exactly does FitHop stand for? I mentioned it, but maybe you can break it down for them.
It's more than just what it sounds like, you know, the fusion of fitness and hip-hop music and culture. It stands for a functional, integrative training and health optimizing program. And I'm showing you the fingers because they correspond to the XYZs, these 6 points or the 3 dimensions that we basically break down all movement to. So the program is just like installing almost like an operating system through your brain to start to see movement through a very basic 3-dimensional mathematical matrix.
So what is this XYZ exactly?
So each finger basically corresponds to an axis and a plane. Your thumbs pointing left and right represent this plane here. And that's any movement like a jumping jack or any type of sidestepping movement. Okay. Your index fingers are pointing forward, so that's your movements in front and behind, like a lunge or a punch, right? And then you have your Y plane, which is Y-axis is pointing up and down, and that's all movements going up and down, like squats.
Squats.
So you see that, you know, it's a new way of seeing the physical world and experiencing the physical world. So that's why I often say, like, it's not just a fitness program, it's a program for the mind. Right. A shift in paradigm, like seeing things, you know, through space and then time. Ultimately physically initially through the planes, and then awareness of of the space-time dimension, which is the fourth dimension, and that's where we introduce music. Once you understand movement on a mathematical plane, and then once you understand the simple beat, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not hard, you know, like it's just the 4 counts. Once everyone can count to 4, then, and understand the XYZ, it's interesting how like even people who thought they could never dance, which really before I even started any of this, I couldn't. I could never dance. So, but people actually can get it. And I think it's just a way of breaking it down, simplifying it, and making it accessible now. Things like breakdancing and martial arts and stunts and stuff that most people would be like, I could never do that. Fit Hop makes it possible for anyone to just start taking those steps and reach those, you know, those goals. Thank you.
That makes great sense.
It makes sense.
It makes so much sense. Like as I'm listening, I've done my research on you. I've watched your videos. I've heard your songs. You know, and based on everything that you've accomplished that I've seen online, it all seems to be difficult, but based on the research I've done, you've simplified it in such a way, as you just mentioned. You simplified the martial arts aspect, you simplified the fitness aspect, you simplified the dance aspect, you simplified the music production aspect. You work out of a studio, SGS Studios, correct?
That's the recording studio, yeah.
So you work out of SGS, and I've seen some of your workshops where you actually step-by-step guide people on what exactly it is that you're doing through the production. You have one of your workshops, which is create a song from scratch, right? And clients come in and you know, you help them make a song, the very own production. You're also working on some other, I heard you're working on a student anthem for different schools.
Yeah. We've done the O Canada anthem in a public school where I came in, I brought my studio into the classroom, turned their classroom into like a studio, created a safe haven, you know, and empowered the kids with the confidence to just express their creativity by just doing simple things like beatboxing exercises, or the wacky coco. I call it the wacky coco. It's fun.
The wacky
but yeah, they all got to experience a little bit on the microphone, hear their voice, and I think it's you know, it's my favorite thing is to help people go through the steps, just a quicker sort of process of it that I had to go through to overcome like my own insecurities and my own fears of just performing. And I don't mean performing like getting on a stage necessarily, but I mean, my slogan after all is perform it. What does that mean? I mean perform it as in like put your heart into everything you do, because life is, you know, Earth is a stage and life is a show, you know. And
every second counts.
Every second you're on. That's it. So I like having that effect, especially on kids, because I can relate to them as growing up. They're worried to just be themselves. Everyone's trying to fit and everyone's trying to belong. And that's actually how, you know, Fit Hop was inspired, really, is people ask me, how do you come up with, you know, functional, integrative? There's been a lot of thought put into this, and there sure has been. It's because there's been a lot of evolution that was necessary for me personally to come to this point where I've created something that is like everyone can belong, everyone fits. Fit Hop, everyone fits in with Fit Hop, you know, versus hip hop, which for me as a kid growing up wasn't as accessible. Again, I couldn't break dance, or I couldn't, or at least to that degree, and
you felt like you couldn't fit in with the mainstream of what hip hop was actually being represented as.
I was trying, exactly. I was trying to be something I wasn't. I wasn't just embracing myself and my own uniqueness, which when you do so, you relinquish your power when you're trying to fit in, when you're trying to, you know, and I lost my power, and that's hence why the album coming up, it's Power. It's called Power, and it's all about how we don't need power over anything or anyone but ourselves. And when we do really like relinquish the need to fit in with anything and embrace ourselves, then we're empowered, and then we tap into what you're very familiar with, and that is the ADD. Right. And we call that
the alternate drive in destiny.
The alternate drive in destiny.
So tell us a little bit about these books. Like, we have this lineup of books here.
I am an avid reader.
I looked at some of the titles. They're all very impressive. Tell us about how these books inspired you.
These two here give a good idea. When people ask me what's Fit Hop, I'm like, imagine Bruce Lee and, you know, Tupac, or, you know, LL Cool J. I mean,
Bruce Lee and LL Cool J.
Yeah, like, just sat down in the 21st century together and wrote a fitness program. You know what I'm saying? That's Fit Hop. It's like, it's being able to empower people through using the power of music and teaching them about, you know, concepts and issues that like will just inspire them and move them, make them believe that they can. Now, I went real deep into the study of music. So this is Daniel Levitin, and this is basically like the Western, the science understanding of music, and it's called This Is Your Brain on Music. And literally, it's like music is a drug, but one that puts us in a positive trance, in literally like an empowering trance, one that makes us feel we can do anything, you know. And you hear that track from Eminem, One Shot. Like I'm sure everyone who's heard that, whether you like hip hop or not, you hear that, and it has certain, you know, effects on us, and that's because there's certain physiological mechanisms in the brain that we are all innately like given and born with. It's our birthright to be able to tap our foot to the beat and sing along to the melody. Maybe not necessarily in key, but that's okay.
I've actually heard about that book, Daniel Levitin. That's the man he was a sound engineer and he turned into a neuroscientist.
Yes, that's a very important point too. Exactly. He went from sound engineer to wanting to explore further and deeper into
how music affects the mind.
Mechanism. Exactly.
That's brilliant.
Isn't it? It's amazing. It's a book I tell everyone, especially music producers and people who are really into sound, you know, design and sound manipulation. And one of my favorite quotes, I think he mentions in there too, is music is just organized noise. You know, from the chaos, music brings order, and it describes everything. Yeah. So
what you got there?
This one here is going really deep, and this is going to the right cerebral hemisphere. This is going in the Eastern philosophy, and this is ancient Sufism, like over 5,000 years old. Wisdom of the Sufi is the wisdom of the heart. And again, going back to my whole slogan, perform it, which is all based on heart. Don't just do it, put your heart into it. And that's why my logo is the fire, the flame, the lion heart. When you put your heart into whatever you do it uniquely because it comes from you. You don't have to compete. It's just, you're unique, you know? Right. And this goes into the real understanding of the faculties of the heart and how, you know, logic, reason, memory, and thought are all affected by ego. And what's the ego? It's like the thumb. It contacts and controls all of the others. So you got to keep your ego in check. Wow. Your ego is your talent and it's your ability. It's like your magic wand to do what you do, and that's for everyone. But also what it represents is your individuality, and we all need that sense of individuality in order to feel the confidence to step into the world, into the big picture, and see where we belong. And
find the balance, right? The equilibrium that allows us to come off to other people as not so egotistical, but rather a balanced soul, you know, a balanced person who is open and ready to receive other people's egos, because like you said, we do need the ego. The ego connects everything, right?
Exactly, exactly. And balance is the key term in that, you know, and that's what Bruce Lee, you know, in the ancient Oriental philosophy of yin yang, which represent the balance of the two. There's a form in Fit Hop where we have X, the top plane, and this is the right hand over the left hand, which the right hand corresponds to the left brain, and the left hand corresponds to the right brain, which are the yin and yang principles, the male and female energy. It's nothing to do with man or woman, but we go from here, right over left, our Father who art in heaven. We come down to Mother Earth, and then we have the working of the two together in perfect balance and harmony. So there's a lot of meaning, and often that's
a lot of philosophy to the entire Fit Up program.
Exactly. Clearly. Movement and music with meaning is the best way to sort of sum it up.
It's great, man. As I was doing my research, I saw you're just like me. You're left-handed.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Left-handed bandit. From another planet, people just don't understand it. In fact, you know what? That was actually a nice little rhyme there.
That was great.
Speaking of left-handed, there's one of my icons, idols, Da Vinci.
Da Vinci.
He was left-handed as well. Actually, so is Oprah, Einstein. A lot of very creative minds, people who shifted and changed the paradigm of the world. Literally, were left-handed. All it means is we use more predominantly the right side of our brain, which is the creativity and feeling, intuition, and where experience really is experienced, versus the left brain, which is more logical and practical. Facts, it deals with the science, you know?
The science, right.
Yeah, of it all. So it's like
right-handed deals with the left side of the brain, left-handed deals with the right side of the brain.
And it's art and science are what they correspond to.
Are the two balances.
That's right, male and female, structure and experience, you know? And they're one, they're the same. It's just a matter of, like you said, being balanced. Also, they correspond to ego and spirit. The male is drive, it's will, it acts. You know what I mean? It just goes. And then the female is just, it receives, you know?
So There's one thing that I mentioned that I haven't mentioned yet, which was something that I found in my research, and there's one more book there that we haven't touched yet, and that is how you incorporate astrology into the philosophy behind FitHop.
Yes.
I found it to be brilliant when you started talking about numerology. You started talking about
all the esoteric sciences.
All the esoteric signs.
Oh, man.
I've watched some videos of you on YouTube, and it seems like there's a very powerful philosophy behind how esoteric signs, zodiac signs, have something to do with the way that each individual is pretty much expressed.
Yes.
Right? And it seems like you have a deep understanding of how each zodiac sign gels and works well with other zodiac signs. And then there's numerology that falls into all of that.
That's this one right here, yeah.
It's amazing how, you've pretty much used the astrological sense of how to understand people based on their star signs, their sun signs, and their zodiac signs, and bring them back down on a grounded plane where they can understand that the reasons why they react certain ways, or the reasons why they do certain things, the reason why they feel certain ways, is really all based on their zodiac sign, on the characteristics that they were born with.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Can you tell us a little bit about how that philosophy comes into play?
Absolutely, man. And I'm glad you bring this up. Like for some people, this is like, hoopla, and it's all kind of like, ooh, ah. The thing is, I don't see anything as absolute, you know what I mean? The only absolute truth, is to be experienced, I don't know, after this life. But in the meantime, there are a lot of clues that have been left. And, since the ancients, have all studied the same thing, all religions seem to all come back to stars, and what are the stars? The stars are the lights in the sky, you know what I mean? And they're always been a way of navigating. So like, the philosophy and understanding why is it we've set the limits physically or mentally, whatever physical limits we have, they have to do with mental limits really. And I went into going into exploring what is it, what has been holding me back. And because at the end of the day, this is all about conquering self, which is my favorite quote from Plato: the first and best victory is to conquer self. Question is, how are you going to go about doing that? You have to know thyself, you have to understand thyself. And these esoteric maps kind of give you the hints, and they lead you in the direction of seeing the truth about yourself, characteristics that will help you see through when your ego is playing out versus the true essence of who and what you are. So,
you know what? I think I'm going to put you to the test a little bit here.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's people watching right now that are wondering, how much you can tell us on the fly. So I'm just going to say 3 zodiac signs, and we'll, I understand that the difference between the male and the female polarity, affects the signs differently.
Yeah.
So let's just use the male. We'll use the male for the Leo. Tell us a little bit about the Leo, the lion.
The lion it represents
3 characteristics that relate to the male.
Okay, it's just very it's individual. It's the ego in the zodiac. It's represented because it's the star, ruled by the star, which is everything revolves around. So it's about the me. It's about who am I kind of thing, and also ultimately for the what purpose, but to share. I want to share who I am with you. I want to show you what I love to do. Leos love to share, and they're very generous, very high spirits, very optimistic, and on the flip side of that, sometimes to the point of delusion. Like the Leo could, like Napoleon, go to a war with no, soldiers, like just overstep its boundaries. We're revolutionists, and I say I'm a Leo, so it's funny, of all constellations, I can tell you a lot about Leo. But ultimately, we just genuinely want to share, and there's super creativity. The rays of the sun, literally in symbolism, show the hair of the lion's mane.
Wow.
So there's a lot of wisdom, innate wisdom in the Leo. And the opposite of Leo, because every sign has an opposite sign, yin and yang, they're principles, yin yang are principles, right? Is Aquarius, which is the energy of humanitarianism. And it takes knowing who you are, finding the star in you, the Leo in you, to then see the part that you play in the big picture. Bob Marley was an Aquarius, for example, and I often, as a Leo, in order to be balanced, like we were saying, I look at Aquariuses, successful Aquariuses, and see what and how they, accomplished, and became successful in the world, and it's usually through acts of humanitarianism.
What about a male Sagittarius?
Sagittarius is the energy of the symbolism is the horse and the archer, which is Orion, and the reason why the Sagittarius is so it's ruled by Jupiter, which is the biggest planet, and it basically represents Zeus, the god of gods, and they're very
Visionaries.
free-spirited, very free-spirited to go places, exactly, visually. They can vividly see the future, and that's why Orion's arrow is pointing right to the center of the galaxy.
How about a female Gemini?
Gemini, I'm gonna go, like, to be honest, like, cause male and female, like, they're complete different almost creatures if you think of it, and the way these energies do express through the difference of a male and a female, a man and a woman, are different. But in general, the Gemini, like, I can comment more probably accurately if I do it generally than trying to understand the difference, the male and the female,
right, which is
of that. Yeah. So to be honest, so I don't lose that, I want to keep that in context. Gemini is the opposite of Sag, actually, and Sag is vision and it's focus and it's like the ability to see into the future. Gemini is the opposite of that. It's so present. It represents spontaneity. It represents communication. It's also the messenger of the zodiac. Tupac, my favorite Gemini, I often quote, is a perfect example. They're the student of the zodiac. They connect the dots, they connect the thoughts, and they make it all rhyme. And it's like, wow. And the opposite of them is the teacher, Sag, which is a spiritual teacher, and then Gemini is the student. And together, you have yin yang. Student and teacher are one.
That's amazing.
So even me as a personal trainer, as an instructor, when I'm working with the kids, I learn sometimes more from them than I'm really teaching them.
Absolutely. I guess that's the best way, because a true teacher, quote unquote, is actually always learning, especially from his students, right?
Yes.
There's divine inspiration coming at all points every time that you're aspiring to guide somebody to learn something. As you watch them progress and as you watch them learn, you learn about yourself and the way that you were teaching, because you learn about the method that you used.
Yes.
You learn about receiving. You learn about giving, right? So
because there's giving and receiving.
There's never no mastering of anything as long as you have that open mind, open heart, ready to receive the information.
Open heart. You said it there, that you really are just sharing your experience. You're not trying to teach, because then it just sounds like you're preaching.
Right.
But what you're doing is sharing your experience, genuinely, authentically, and you're reaching the child or the student at that point. It's actually reaching them. I
actually wrote down in my book the other day, I make music as well, and I often...
You make lots of music. You are a prolific writer from what I've seen.
I often... I don't promote my music, I share it.
That's an amazing distinction.
Huge distinction.
Yeah.
It hit me like bang.
Yeah.
Which is, there's variables that go with it, right? Like the promoting music is for a certain purpose, but sharing it is a completely different purpose, right?
Promoting the intention and energy
promoting it, I think, can come off as egotistical, but sharing it can also come off as egotistically, but a sensitive ego, a balanced ego that's just trying to share, right? Just trying to, what would be a synonym for share? Contribute?
Share. Contribute is another one. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Because by sharing your experiences and through your music, and how you've conquered, those emotions, those aspects that you've written about, and which I'm aware of, like what it is facing certain things within yourself and transcending them through your music. You know what I mean? Like a song it could have been a punch in the face in a bar, you know what I mean? Because you've been upset and you've been bottling something up. So by sharing your conquering of yourself, not promoting your music, which is more about look at me kind of thing.
More in the marketing business aspect. Yeah, look at me,
We need them both, no doubt, but that's better, I think, when others promote you. You just share.
I like that.
That's it. Let others promote you.
There's a formula.
That's a good formula.
That's a great formula.
In fact, we just came up with that today.
That's great. Let others promote your music, and we'll just continue to share.
That's it.
That's amazing. Well, we'll end off before we take a quick break with that thought right there.
That's a good one to end with.
I thought, he said it himself right there, that, let others promote your music, and we'll just keep sharing it. Us artists out there who like to contribute to the betterment of music and continue creating, keep sharing your music, while others who love it will promote it for you. You guys just saw Niko, the interview. Incredible stuff so far. We'll be right back when we're going to tap into a little bit of that ADD that we've been hearing about, Ultimate Driving Destiny. So stay tuned, because we'll be right back.
Thank you.